Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. J. Parker Griffin Jr., and I'm here with Miss Cindy Copeland, who is an outstanding actress and very accomplished performer. And Cindy and I are going to be talking about the topic of narcissism today. Cindy's going to be speaking about the topic from the standpoint of a survivor of emotional narcissistic abuse. To take off, called the 25th Demon. So I would like to welcome you,
Thank you.
Miss Cindy Copeland. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm doing quite well.
Good.
I was wondering if you could tell us, what is a narcissist?
A narcissist. Most people would understand a narcissist to be someone that is love of oneself, like the mythical character who fell himself in love with his self in the pool.
His reflection?
His reflection, thank
Okay.
you. And then loved himself to death, pretty much, which I think that's what most narcissists will eventually do. But what we're talking about is much deeper than that.
Some of them are low key. I think they refer to as a covert narcissist.
Yes.
Right? Okay. So apparently you were involved in a relationship with a narcissist. Probably, was it a covert or overt?
I would believe that from what I studied, a covert narcissist.
Okay.
The most charming of them all.
And perhaps maybe the most difficult to detect?
Probably. I would say, well, yes, because I didn't know when I lived with this individual, he would do different things that were odd to me, and it was intriguing to me. I couldn't figure out what he was doing. So I ignored it.
Yeah, when you saw those
Yeah,
symptoms.
because it would be like I would approach him on some things. There'd be no answer, just a stare, no explanation, and then we just go on with the rest of the day. I mean, what else? What do you do with somebody like that?
Right.
It doesn't tell you anything.
Okay. So, how did the experience with the narcissist affect you? What were the things that you witnessed?
Well, we talked about the stare, so there was no explanation.
What about the stare?
The cold stare like this,
When did that happen?
daily.
Really?
Daily.
What
And
prompted-
usually what prompted that
Yeah.
would be if I asked him to do something, whether it's clean the bathroom or maybe do something in the yard
Right.
or whatever. There was an attitude, but no conversation, and just a stare. And he could walk right by you like you didn't exist. And you could question him, why are you doing that? Never an explanation.
You probably didn't know. You know they don't have much insight, right?
Inside or inside? They don't have much inside either, sorry.
Self-insight, introspection.
Right.
So it sounds like if he displayed the characteristic of entitlement, then he felt he was above doing those things.
I would agree with that. Absolutely. He did have that sense of entitlement, and you could just tell that about him.
Right.
There was never apologies. There was never anything as if he didn't owe me any explanation or any apology. Not him.
Did he follow through on his commitments, his promises?
No,
How did that?
he did not follow through on those. There was a lot of, we'll do this, or I'll do this, or do that. It was just things to say for the moment to pacify me. That's what I felt. I didn't at the time necessarily. I believed in them, but then they just didn't happen.
Right. So what about empathy?
What about empathy?
Yeah, putting
Yes,
himself in other people's shoes. How did that work?
I don't think he even understands how to do that. He expects it of you. In fact, he seems very appreciative when you do for him.
Okay.
But when I hurt my back, there was no compassion whatsoever. There was no nothing. Could you rub my back? If he did, it was like for 5 seconds.
Wow.
There was no care about it.
Oh,
he didn't care.
No
He was
caring,
so-
no compassion.
I did not feel that at all. And then I thought, well, maybe I was just expecting too much. You know, you start justifying things.
Right.
Being a victim of one now, what I've understood about it is about mental abuse. And it's something that's so destructive to you as a human being that it's something that one needs to be aware of.
Okay. So what are some of the things that you would experience as a survivor? What constitutes the emotional abuse that you're talking about? What are some of the behaviors that they exhibit?
Some of the behavior would be Non-communication. It would just be a dead stare,
Mm-hmm.
no explanation,
Mm-hmm.
and it would make me feel guilty.
Yes.
And also, there would be moments of where there would be no contact, just cut you off like you're dead, and no empathy. I remember that was a big thing. At one time, I'd hurt my back, and I asked him where the heating pad was because 2 weeks ago I'd taken care of him night and day with heating and ice, and he seemed very appreciative. But when it was me having something like that, I don't know. I don't know. Well, would you rub my back? No, I don't have time. It was just like it didn't matter. Because as long as he was taken care of, it didn't matter what was going on with me.
So
and I thought it was odd.
Would you describe him as self-centered?
Very much so.
Really? So in what way?
That's all he cared about was making sure that he was taken care of,
Wow.
not that I was taken care of. That there was one time that I had hurt myself, and he wouldn't even respond to that
Really?
until he was ready to come back. And so I could tell through the relationship that he didn't have empathy for me at all. But the one that I was involved with was a covert, the most charming.
So it takes a little while for you to discern that he had issues?
Yes, and I'll tell you why it does. Because when a narcissist comes into your life and they want you for whatever reason that is, whatever it is they need from you, they start to mirror you. And what that means is that they become like the things that you like. And so you fall in love with somebody that you think is your soulmate.
Somebody who never really existed in the first place?
That's what it is. But at that time you don't know that. You think, wow, I just found the most charming, loving person that, guys, my soulmate. This is wonderful, and you're caught up in that. And then after a while, things don't jive. You think this person loves me, but things they do, it doesn't connect. And it makes you start to question. And when you question, you realize that they don't give answers. He didn't give answers to anything.
Really?
No. And so then my own mind would create answers, and try to solve this mystery of his personality. And it was confusing.
Yeah. So what about irritability?
Irritability. It was easy for him to become that if you challenged him. It doesn't mean negatively challenge somebody or be rude to them. But it could be just asking him, why are you on the phone all the time? Because he was constantly. He would all of a sudden go from this mannerly human being to this person with this stare, just like this.
Really?
And no, wouldn't say anything. I'd say, why are you doing that? And then there was no answer, and then we just go on. Because what do you do?
They call it the narcissist stare.
He had the narcissist stare. Oh yeah, no eye blinking at all. It's really odd. It's odd.
So you start picking up these little odd behavior patterns, and what did you do when you start noticing them?
They were very intriguing to me, actually. I wanted to figure out why they were. The only thing I could do is either talk to somebody about it at the time. In fact, I did to a girlfriend. There was something he did, and she said he's a sociopath. I said, no, he's not a sociopath. What do you mean he's a sociopath? So I did actually start researching that, believe it or not, after he was at my house for a couple months. And I questioned him about it. And that was odd. Because I read a lot of the characteristics, and he had a lot of those. And he goes, well, no, I'm not that. No, well, maybe. Yeah, no, I guess I'm not a sociopath. And that quick. So I let it go. Just let it go. I didn't know.
So what made you start thinking that he was, in fact, a narcissist?
To be honest, it wasn't until we got back. He left after 8 months. It was devastating. Then he came back around a few months later for about 2 more months, and then just cut me off like I was nothing. And all of these, I couldn't find explanation for what happened. And I was angry at myself. I was angry at him. So I started researching, because one time he mentioned, well, I might be a narcissist, but I'm not like that. Okay, we were watching a movie or something. It was something that he just said. And that's when I started thinking, I'm going to start researching that, because the sociopathic stuff that he was doing he had some of those characteristics, so I'll look at this. And my gosh, it's like I had all this major explanation from all these experts by watching YouTube on narcissism. And it made so much sense to me that sociopaths are narcissistic. So it's just like, that's where I started getting
Yeah,
explanation.
they all fall in the category of cluster Bs. What?
Oh, he's a cluster.
Yeah. So, how did that affect you? What was your response to all of that?
Well, what affected me was that I absolutely thought I was a bad person, that I was going crazy, that I lost the love of my life at my own hands, that I was so depressed and spiraled down to the point I thought I could kill myself. I started drinking heavily, and that's how I felt. I was so confused, and none of my friends could help me because I said, this isn't like breaking up with just a normal boyfriend. This was worse than that.
They truly
It was
did not
someone that
understand.
twists your mind around with gaslighting and lies and double meanings and confusion.
Now, what's the gaslighting?
Gaslighting is where he actually set up situations. And I would think something was true and said, no, that didn't happen. No, that's not how that was.
So they start kind of reinventing history.
Yes. And making you think along lines that you know is true, but it wasn't true. Like me seeing him I saw him go into some place one time.
Right.
He denied it.
Wow.
I said, but I saw you. No, I was parked in the back. I went to the back. No, you didn't. Yes, I did. What do you do from there? You don't do anything.
What about cold shoulder?
He would do that.
Yeah.
He would do that, come to think of it. Especially if it was something important to me or, to be honest, when I first met him, I put on a negligee. Do you know he didn't even look twice?
Right.
There was a time I thought he was gay. I said, are you sure you're not gay? No, I'm not gay. It would seem to me that in a new relationship where tell the woman you're in love with her, there'd be turn-on things or there would be something.
Right.
There wasn't. It was mechanical. But he was depressed too. He was going through a lot of stuff, so I just excused it.
So, what about the issue of irritability?
Irritability. He would display that if you asked him to do something or to help you with something, or especially if it seemed negative to him. He was always on the phone. And if you asked him, would you please get off that phone, he would have this. That's where you would see that irritability. It would come out like you're challenging him. He hated, don't you? It's like, don't you challenge me? But he wouldn't verbalize anything. It was just all in that look, all in that look like that. And you'd say, what is that?
So it's like you're criticizing his perfect behavior pattern.
His
in
perfect
his eyes.
behavior. Yes, you don't challenge someone that feels they have an entitlement. Or that they're so great because they're all about love, as he would say he was.
Really?
He was all about love. And
One way love, huh?
Huh?
One way
Yeah,
love.
I would say, well, stuff you do isn't about love.
Well, what was your coping mechanism? How were you able to survive all of this emotional confusion that he was causing?
That's a really good question because it was very difficult. You can talk to friends, but this isn't a relationship where you just break up with somebody that, it's sad and you're going to get over it. This was so mind-boggling, and it just messed your internal thought processes
A lot of
up
people
and
aren't
who
gonna
you
understand
were.
it.
They didn't understand it. Some would be, well, get over it. So you don't get over this. You don't understand. So what I did is, because he himself mentioned one time, I might be a narcissist, but I'm not that bad. And I remembered that, so I thought, I'm going to look up narcissism on YouTube because I don't want to look at a book. I need someone talking about it right now. And I would do this all night long. I went to Ross Rosenberg, who was amazing, and I went to Quinn. I to somebody I think he's the one. Yeah, I stuck with him for a long time. All his little YouTubes, all about what the narcissist is, what they do, how they say, how it's like walking on eggshells, and it was like how they're making you crazy. It's like, this is what I'm feeling.
It was like a revelation.
It was a revelation. Now I had at night, all night long, I had this best friends on YouTube that have all experienced narcissism, either personally or grew up, I mean, like boyfriend relationship or husband or wife, or just counselors.
Yeah.
And they were right on. They all had the same similarity.
So it was like a weight was lifted off your shoulders.
It was like a weight. I had friends all night long on YouTube, and it was such a salvation to me.
Well, that's wonderful. Well, I understand
Yes.
that you are considering auditioning for the upcoming movie, The 25th Demon, which
Very
focuses on the
excited
topic
about
of
that.
narcissism.
Very excited about that.
Yeah. So, what role are you considering playing in the movie?
I believe I'm auditioning for the mother,
Carletta?
Carletta.
What? So that would be the main character's mother? Well, you don't look old enough to be the main character's mother. No
Well,
way.
thank you. Well, why do you think we have makeup and wigs? Why do we call it acting? So, yes, I'm
Okay.
very excited about that because society, our society needs to know about this.
Yes.
Because there's so many people like myself didn't even know about narcissism. I knew
Right.
the word and I knew it from the general term,
Right.
but not the depth of what I experienced.
Well,
So-
from what I understand, in listening to some medical experts about the whole issue and the fact that they can indirectly cause a lot of emotional damage with people. And when you consider the total number of narcissists across the country, which could be anywhere from 300 to 500,000 narcissists across the country,
Wow.
they can affect as many as 60 million people, is what I
Isn't that
understand, over the
amazing?
course of their lives. Yeah.
And didn't someone, I think you might have said there's 1 in 25 that's
1
a
in
narcissist.
25.
That is so amazing.
Yeah, that's what the research statistics suggest. For people who are officially narcissist,
Right.
as opposed to being narcissistic.
That means
So-
there's some in my neighborhood.
Well, if you go to Kroger's and there's 200 people, then 8 of them are likely to be narcissists.
Isn't that amazing?
And you don't know it.
No.
Yeah.
No, you don't. Especially if they're charmers. They're wonderful people. I mean, at least that's what
Well,
you
they're
think.
con men and women.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's why the movie's important, to be able to get people to understand the seriousness of the disorder
Right.
and to learn some of the signs of it, you know?
Yes, I do know.
Yeah. Well, tell us a little bit more about your career, some of the things that you're thinking about doing or involved in or whatever.
Well, a couple years ago, I studied years ago anyway, but
Oh.
since I've been in Atlanta, I decided why not? I'm in a position to do that.
Mhm.
So the last couple years, I've been involved in several plays
Yeah.
and have representation through East Coast Talent here in Atlanta for film and television. And I've done some things already, which I'm excited about.
Right.
But there's going to be some pilots. There's a pilot that I'm going to be in as well that we're going to finish filming in July.
Right.
So there's a lot of good things happening. I've got some connections in LA. I'm going to be in a movie with a friend of mine that's doing a lot of stuff out there. So
Well, I hate to tell you this, but
you hate to tell me.
yeah, it just so happened that I was able to sneak into your Barefoot in the Park production. And your acting was absolutely superb. How
Oh, you're
about
so
that?
sweet. Thank
It
you.
was so
Thank you.
good.
That
Yes.
was a blast. Love that.
It's going to be a very important addition as far as the viewing audience is concerned. So, what are your thoughts about that in terms of the
We
usefulness?
need that desperately.
And so that's the reason that this movie that I understand you're going to be auditioning for, which is the 25th Demon. Yay.
Exactly. I'm very excited about
Mm-hmm.
that. Started doing research. It was like there it all was.
Mm.
And it was like, my God, that's what I've been dealing with. Who would have known? I didn't know.
Mhm.
Because I thought it was me and I was crazy and I lost the best thing in my life. I lost my soulmate, which he did through mirroring, which I've learned, that I fell in love with myself. And it's like the world needs to know this. They
Yes.
just need to be informed
To protect themselves.
to protect themselves and their loved ones,
Right, right.
without question.
And imagine if the parent is the narcissist and the child is
Yes.
the survivor. So it's really
Yes.
sad. We have been speaking about the topic of narcissism with the actress, Miss Cindy Copeland. And I just wanted to thank you so much for
Thank you.
your contribution to helping us to understand the topic of narcissism. And I wish you the best in your career.
Well, thank you so much.
All
I
right.
appreciate it.
Dr. J. Parker Griffin Jr., with the 25th Demon interview with Miss Cindy Copeland.